G'day, I'm Glenn Morris from the Smart Energy Lab, and today in What's in the Box, I've got something a bit excited about. A lithium-ion battery. No, not just another lithium-ion battery. This is actually a 12-volt lithium-ion battery, which is on the same form factor as your standard lead-acid 12-volt battery that you might find, your 100 amp hour battery in your car, your RV, your caravan, etc. So let's look at what we've kind of got now and what we can replace it with, which is the new product. So I've got here a fairly conventional lithium-ion, it's pretty light, right? Because this is a dummy. This is a lead-acid absorbed glass mat type battery. Now, absorbed glass mat 12-volt batteries have been around for a long time. The AGM, or absorbed glass mat feature, means that there is a fiberglass separator between the cells, which is soaked in dilute sulfuric acid. So it's basically a lead-acid battery without sloshing around liquid. Nothing can spill, which is great. They're still spill-proof, but there is a problem. They're heavy. Now, this is a dummy unit, so I can magically lift it with little effort, but in practice, this would be, 20-something kilos. It would be a heavy piece of lead. It also, being a lead-acid technology, has a characteristic that it doesn't like very deep discharge. Something like 50% maximum depth of discharge to get a reasonable cycle life out of the battery, and even then, you're probably only talking maybe 1,000 cycles. Depends how cold or warm it's kept at. The warmer it is, the shorter the lifespan. The colder it is, though you get slightly longer lifespan, you get less capacity. So written on the front here, 12 volts, 110 amp hours. Now remember, only 50% of that's usable if you want to get a reasonable life out of this battery. Let's compare it with what's new from a company called Saintish. Saintish Tech sent me one of their lithium-ion batteries. Now this is the real deal. So it's a little bit heavier than an empty case, but it's a lot lighter than a lead-acid battery. I wouldn't be doing that with an AGM. So let's have a look what's inside the box. I forgot my knife. I better go and get it. So, some packaging. We've got some QR codes here because, wow, this actually has a Bluetooth transmitter inside it, so that means you can pair it with a phone. Wow. We'll see more about that in a minute. We've got our warranty information. So it's actually got a 5-year warranty with a 10-year design life, so that's pretty cool. And we've got some other information here, safety information about the battery. But let's get to the main event. Here it is. So this is the battery. Now it looks awfully similar to an AGM 110 amp hour battery. Like I said, the big difference is one-handed. I can lift this thing. This is their kind of top level model because it's got the Bluetooth built into the BMS. They make one without the Bluetooth. Bluetooth actually means you can monitor the cell voltages inside this unit. So what's inside this box? So Saintish actually sent me a sample of one of the cells. So this is a 3.2 volt, 100 amp hour prismatic lithium ferrophosphate cell, or LiFePO, or LFP for short. LFP, lithium ferrophosphate, is considered one of the safest types of lithium. They're very tolerant of heat, can't easily go into thermal runaway, and we're talking hundreds of degrees Celsius for that to happen. But all of that is protected internally by the BMS itself. The BMS has thermal sensors on the cells, so inside this unit are 4 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that'll give me approximately a 12 volt battery. In fact, it's more like 13.8 volts when it's fully charged, and for about 90% of its capacity will stay above 12.8 volts. So actually, it looks like a full battery as far as regular 12 volt appliances go until it's down to 10% of its capacity. So it's a very flat voltage discharge curve, which is really great. Other things about this battery is it's, like I said, its usable capacity is almost double what a comparable AGM or flooded lead acid battery would be. It's also got an insane cycle life. We're measuring cycle life in these units in thousands of cycles, not hundreds. So it's got a very long cycle life. These are more expensive though, so you've got to consider that it's a long-term investment. It's not just you buy it, you use it, 3 years later it's a dead battery. This will last, well, its design life is 10 years and its warranty is 5, so at least that long, and you will get a lot of cycles out of it. If you're using it on a regular basis, cycling it every day, which is only 365 cycles, it'll probably outlast the vehicle that you put it in. So it's kind of like a lifetime purchase buying a lithium-ion battery as a replacement for an absorbed glass mat or lead acid, flooded lead acid battery. I've got some products I'd like to try with this. One of them, which was someone suggested, is how about running a pie warmer off it. So this is a 12 volt pie warmer. I'm going to give it a go, see what I can cook, and see how long it will run this pie warmer for. Now this pie warmer keeps the food at 150 degrees Celsius, so it depends on how long you want to cook something for, but I'm going to try and cook a little dish in here for a few hours maybe, and see how it goes. Also, we're going to take this outside and put it to test in the real world in my RV. Let's go and check it out. Alright, well, we're going to make a portable cigarette socket that we can use when we go camping. So I've got here the Saintish lithium battery, and I'm going to make a little modification. So what you can see on top here is some covers to insulate the terminals. Now, normally you wouldn't need to do this, but we're going to make this as a traveling unit, which could be just rattling around in the back of the car. So I cut the sides out of a plain screw adapter's compression gland just to make way for the cable. I use some of these 3M sticky squares that you can attach cable ties to support the cables so they don't pull on the terminals, and also a fuse. Very important if you have any short circuits downstream of the battery. It can supply a lot of current, so really important to be able to protect those cables. So we're now ready to use this as a portable 12 volt power supply for running all sorts of appliances that use a standard cigarette. Okay, let's cook some awesome vegan food using our Saintish 12 volt 1280 watt hour battery. So I throw in the gluten-free pasta, the flavor, some organic soy milk of course, unsweetened, and a bit of hot water to kickstart it all. Next we add a little bit of margarine, makes it nice and creamy. Close the unit up. Plug in the battery. And now we're drawing about 8.5 amps at 13.19 volts. And the app is showing us a whole lot of detail about this. We can see the volts, the amps, the watts, and even the single cell voltages as well. So let's start a timer and see how long it takes. You'll note the voltage on the battery hardly dropped at all. It was sitting on 13.19 volts. And after 50 minutes, well, which is a little bit too long, I think I slightly overcooked the pasta, but there it was, creamy, vegan macaroni cheese. Now the app itself, here you can see we're 94% state of charge. We started at 99, so we only used 5% of the battery's capacity to cook a delicious macaroni cheese. You can even turn the charging or the discharging circuits off if you wish. And you can monitor all sorts of things, including temperature of the cells. The amp hour capacity is tracked over time, so you can see the history for voltage and amp hour capacity and current draw. So the Bluetooth built into this battery gives you a lot of oversight and control of how you're going to use it. Well, here we are, out in the bush. We've got our lovely Saintish lithium-ion battery, the 12 volt, 1280 watt hour unit. We've got a portable fridge. Now often you can just run your fridge off your four-wheel drive or your vehicle when you're camping, but I'd like to take the fridge into the tent and have it in there where it's really convenient. This is where it's handy to have that battery to be able to put it wherever you like. So let's get it set up. One of the things you want when you're out camping is power. A lithium-ion battery can give you that power without the weight. This battery weighs only 12.8 kilos. That's way less than the typical 30 plus kilos you'd find for an AGM or lead acid battery. I'm running this fridge here off a little inverter, so we can power AC appliances as well as DC appliances. And best of all, I can take this wherever I want. It doesn't have to be tethered to a vehicle because it's got a 12 volt socket outlet that's we made up specially for this project. You'll note that I've put these caps on top here. This is really about safety because you don't want to drop anything conductive across the terminals. So this is kind of a temporary arrangement. I would install this properly in a vehicle if I was using it, and therefore there would be insulated covers. But this is just for camping, and we just want to be safe, but we also want to make sure that we don't burn any wiring, so we've got a fuse here. So this fuse is to protect these cables in case something downstream gets cut and short circuits. But anyway, look, I'm really pleased to have this battery here from Saintish. It's changed the way I think about taking a battery with me out of the car because I can carry it with one hand. It's not like, can you help me carry this battery? And also it doesn't spill. You can tip it over, it doesn't matter. And you can use 100% of its capacity. So that's a really awesome thing about a lithium-ion battery. And of course, it's got the app. So you can get out the Bluetooth app and check out the state of charge, check out the amount of draw on the battery at the moment. And if you've got solar connected to this, you can also see the charge going in. You can lock those off. You can lock charging off, you can lock discharging off, or you can leave them both available. So you've got separate options in the app to control both charge and discharge. You can even see, if you're really interested, there's 4 individual cells inside here, 3.2 volt lithium ferrophosphate cells, and you can see what the voltage on each of those cells are. You can even see when they're doing what's called balancing. So a lot of information through the Bluetooth app that tells you how this battery is performing. Thanks very much for watching. See ya.